Blessings and namaste, everyone. I'm spiritualist, psychic, astrologer, and medium Ray Seti. Thank you once again for allowing me this opportunity to share with you my astrological and spiritual insights. In this video, I would like to share with you my suggestions as to how to prepare for an eclipse season. Now, generally, we have an eclipse season twice a year, and they occur about 6 months apart from each other. Eclipses are concentrations of energy. At the time of an eclipse, the alignment between the sun and the moon is much more exacting, and because it's concentrating the energy, it's intensifying the energy, and we feel its effects a little bit more so. More specifically, these are effects that are experienced on a long-term basis. For example, every month we have a new moon. The new moon begins the lunar cycle that generally lasts from new moon to new moon, which is approximately 28 days. A solar eclipse, which is an intensified new moon, its effects can remain in motion for up to 6 months, and sometimes even longer, sometimes many years, and it's dependent upon, again, the exactness of the alignments, especially in our charts. Remember, as with all astrological phenomenon, we need to observe exactly where it is located in the chart and how it's relating to the other components of the chart, as to how to understand on a personal level the experiences of the specific astrological occurrence. In the coming months, in June and July, we have actually 3 eclipses. Generally, during the eclipse season, which, as I said, are 6 months apart, we generally have 2 eclipses, a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. In the coming eclipse season, which just continues to emphasize how significant these times are for us, we have 3 eclipses. We have a lunar eclipse on June 5th. We have our solar eclipse on June 21st, and then we have another lunar eclipse, which I have been talking about how it coincides with the birthday of the United States, on July 4th. Now, as we are approaching an eclipse season, generally 3 months before the eclipse, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the June 21st new moon solar eclipse, mainly because the energy is so very prominent and significant, especially regarding the evolution of humanity. As I said, generally within a 3-month time frame leading up to the eclipse, and this time would begin with the March 24th new moon. That new moon began the preparation phase for the coming solar eclipse on June 21st. Now, just on a monthly basis, we are given an opportunity to prepare for the new moon at the time of what we refer to as being the balsamic moon, which is about 3 days before the new moon. That is an auspicious opportunity to prepare for the coming lunar cycle, for us to clear, cleanse, purge, release what doesn't serve a greater purpose, so that once we begin the new moon cycle, the new experience, we begin with a clean slate. Now, when we address a solar eclipse, as I said, it's a greater concentration of energy. It represents a longer duration of experiences, sometimes many years, sometimes even up to 19 years, because a lunar, what's referred to as a lunar node cycle, is about 19 years. Every 19 years, there will occur similar eclipses. And as I've discussed in my extended forecast, I refer to the eclipse season which took place in 2001, and the events which came to pass during 2001, specifically with the September 11th, 2001 experience. 19 years before that was the eclipse on June 21st, which took place in 1982. However, that was a little different, and I'll just share with you as to why. And as I am saying, the 3 months leading to the eclipse, it's a time for us to really prepare for what is coming next. You see, especially with an eclipse, we are offered this opportunity to prepare, because whatever is surrounding us astrologically, energetically, at the time of the new moon solar eclipse, all of those experiences may potentially remain with us for a longer duration of time. That's why we're given the opportunity to prepare and clear away what no longer serves the purpose. Now, our eclipse on June 21st, 2020, one of the many reasons it contains such intensified, prominent, dramatic energy is that it occurs at the 0 degree mark of Cancer. That point is referred to the 0 degree of the signs which begin a season, such as Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn. That 0 degree mark in a sign which begins a season is referred to as the world point. When that position is triggered, we observe experiences which unfold globally. Again, another example. On June 21st of 2001, there was another eclipse which took place at 0 degrees of Cancer. 3 months later, we had the September 11th experience. Now, what I have been emphasizing, is that we need to be very aware of all the energy which is surrounding us at that time of the eclipse. And we need to be very clear that we do not miscreate experiences by allowing energy that is not in alignment with what we desire, our true self, our higher self. And one of the many points that I have been inspiring clients to really embrace right now is allow yourself to imagine what your ideal life would entail, what you would choose to experience, enjoy, endeavors that you would desire to embark upon. Imagine all of that. And whatever may not allow you to fully enjoy those experiences, it's time to clear it all away. Much of that is connected with fear. My Fear Which Interferes video will touch upon those fears and releasing those fears. And I am emphatically suggesting, as we continue approaching the next solar eclipse on June 21st, continue to allow yourself to go very deep within and just clear, cleanse, release, let go, lovingly surrender what no longer serves a purpose for you, and allow that vision of your ideal experience to become very, very clear. And at the new moon, which is on June 21st, 2020, and the exact time of the new moon is 1:41 a.m. At that moment, if possible, set your intentions in motion regarding all that you truly, truly, truly desire. Remember, create it all from a place of love. And I also suggest that when we do set these intentions in motion, that we include the intention for the highest good of all, not only ourselves, but all of humanity. Now, if for whatever reason you're unable to at the exact moment set these intentions in motion, I always suggest perhaps lighting a candle, conducting perhaps a prayer, ritual, meditation, ceremony, whatever resonates with you at that moment. If you can't do it at that moment, that's okay. As I said, that's 1:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 2:41 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. On the day of the new moon, June 21st, we still will have the opportunity to really set those energies in motion. So if you don't want to either stay up or wake up at that time, don't concern yourself. Later on in the day, because that energy is still very present, or rather the opportunity is still present on that day and even a couple of days after the new moon, to set these intentions in motion. Now, as I said earlier, the position of that eclipse is at the 0-degree point of Cancer. Cancer is the 0 degree of Cancer, as I observe it, is the most prominent world point of all the other signs. As I said, the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, the 0-degree mark is the world point. However, I observe it within the sign of Cancer. It is much more intensified in terms of global shifts. And what I would like to emphasize with this is that the sign Cancer represents, among many things, our emotions, because it's ruled by the moon. But it also represents the early years of our development, the times where we establish the foundations of our later years. And I touch upon this actually in chapter 4 of my book, The Planets Align So Rare, which discusses foundations. You see, this event, especially here in the United States, and for us personally, we have been offered the opportunity to prepare, to lay the groundwork for the times to come. And one of the many components of this experience is for us to release fear. Fear in all forms. Fear in and of itself, as I observe it, does not serve a greater purpose. What I suggest is to be aware. To be aware, do not be fearful. Allowing yourself to be courageously aware offers Spirit the opportunity to share with you clarity wherever there may be fear, and to dissolve it. Remember, we have been offered a great opportunity to release fear. Going back to that 3-month mark in March, that very much was a significant time cycle preparing us, which really prepared us for the coming eclipse series. The March 7th full moon, that was a significant release of deep-seated fear. And just kind of look what happened, how we have this current situation unfolding in our world right now. Spiritually and metaphysically, we are releasing deep-seated fear, which has been present for many, 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 many years, if not thousands, if not more. And so that we do not continue to carry with us and reinforce the element of fear at the new moon on June 21st, we're offered the opportunity to release that fear. Remember what I said. At the time of the new moon on June 21st, whatever it is around you energetically, that energy will remain with us for a long, long period of time. If at the time of the new moon, you are enjoying experiences of peace, love, joy, harmony, clarity, creativity, abundance in all forms, that is what you will be infusing at that time. And that's what will remain with you for a longer period of time. There is also an alignment to the solar eclipse new moon from Saturn. This type of an alignment, it's a what we refer to as an inconjunct aspect. That's when two elements are approximately 150 degrees apart from one another. That energy is very, very transformative. We actually equate the intensity of that energy to the planet Pluto, which Pluto is the element of great and powerful transformation. It's also the one that connects us with great power, especially the ability to be creative beings and to manifest and to bring to form all it is that we desire. And you see, because of the alignment from Saturn to that new moon, we need to be very, very aware to not give away that power to the powers that be. I've discussed that since about 2014, every one of us, especially here in the United States, we've been given the opportunity to recognize the innate power of creative divinity that exists in every one of us. Simply stated, that is the ability for all of us to bring to form all it is that we desire. That is the same energy which evolutionarily created all things. It's what some refer to as the God particle, and I always inspire us to recognize that God particle is in every one of us. And we need to be very aware of all that we create and oftentimes miscreate. And what I'm suggesting that we become abundantly aware of, especially on the new moon solar eclipse of June 21st, that we are not giving away our power to something else. If so, that experience of control and enslavement will be with us for a very, very, very long time. As I said, the eclipse cycles of 2020 are similar to the eclipse cycles of 2001. My suggestion as a thought to consider and entertain is after the September 11, 2001 experience, we gave away our power in the name of national security. We have to be very careful now that we don't give away our power in the name of public health. Now, that does not suggest that we just blatantly not care for ourselves as necessary. These are also times to become very accountable and responsible for our own personal physical well-being in whatever form resonates with us, and to honor that. Also remember, and as I suggest many times, that the power which created this physical form also imbued within us the ability to shield and protect ourselves of harmful interferences, as well as the opportunity to heal itself when necessary. And in order for the physical form to really function properly, we need to facilitate the process and nourish and nurture and care for the physical form so that it can be function as it was designed. As always, I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not be doing. I'm sharing with you what I know to be true, what I have incorporated on my own spiritual journey, and I inspire you to explore all these alternative understandings for yourself. As I'm emphasizing, once again, at the time of the June 21st solar eclipse, we need to allow ourselves to not give away our power, to declare that nothing, no thing has the right to interfere with our well-being in whatever form that we are choosing to have those experiences. Nothing has power over us that we do not give that power to. The other eclipses we have are lunar eclipses, full moons on June 5th as well as on July 4th. Now, a full moon lunar eclipse, it culminates the energies of experiences that began many, many years ago, sometimes even as far back as 19 years ago. I also suggest to recognize that eclipses in and of themselves, they're neither negative or positive. For example, the lunar eclipses, just as a full moon culminates a lunar cycle and brings to form all that we have set in motion at the time of a new moon, the lunar eclipse culminates all the energy that we have set in motion up until that point. Some may refer to this as karma. I've observed and discovered that we often misunderstand karma as being an experience of punishment and reward. Karma is more so a balance of power, a balance of energy, if you will. And just as we observe in nature in the outer world, how nature innately creates a balance, so too these alignments in the heavens. The eclipses, especially the lunar eclipses, are points of culmination regarding energy that has been set in motion for a long period of time. As I said, in and of themselves, the eclipses are neither negative or positive, and their end results are defined by whatever we are setting in motion through intentions and energy up until that point. Back in times of antiquity, eclipses were observed from a place of fear because humanity didn't necessarily fully understand the experience. As we have been shown, perhaps the actual occurrences may have been something else. But if you imagine, especially with a total eclipse, how there's a darkening. Everything becomes very, very dark. It's like the daytime becomes nighttime. We can see the stars. How unsettling that might be without having that understanding. That's why sometimes eclipses are perceived as being ominous or negative, and as I said, they're really not. They're neither negative nor positive in themselves. They're really based upon whatever it is that we will set in motion energetically up until that point that will define exactly how that energy will come to form. Whenever an eclipse coincides with someone's birthday, the coming year can potentially be one of the most significant years for the individual. Now, it's really dependent upon all the alignments, all the aspects, if you will, and how they are coming together. You remember, some of us may feel the experiences, or rather the effects of an eclipse a little bit more so than others. And again, it's really dependent upon how that eclipse is specifically aligning with your personal astrological chart, as well as where it's located in the astrological chart, as to what area of your life you will feel those effects. Now, on July 4th, and it's actually July 4th, July 5th, depending where we are in the United States, we have a lunar eclipse. The eclipse it's actually July 5th, it's at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which would be 12, 11, 10, 9:30 p.m. July 4th, Pacific Time. Regardless, that energy is close enough to the birthday of the United States that the coming year is very indicative of a most prominent time for the development of our country. As I have observed it, and through my experiences, I do believe that there are many, 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 many blessings to be enjoyed during these times, which certainly do seem very, very unsettling. And that's why I've suggested for quite some time now to not infuse and continually fortify that experience of fear and giving away our power, because that may stay with us for a very, very long period of time. Remember, whenever we look ahead, nothing is written in stone. We see the possibilities, we see the probabilities as to what's to come, and in this moment of each day, we are creating and sometimes miscreating what is to come next. Create from a place of love. There are many blessings to be had during these what may seem to be unsettling times. Do not connect with the fear. Do not connect with the misinformation. Which actually, when I'm talking about the 19-year cycles, 19 years ago was 2001, 19 years ago before that was 1982. The June 21st, 1982 solar eclipse was not at the world point as it is this year and in 2001. Actually, in 1982, it was at the last degree of Gemini, which is a sign of communication as well as information. And because of the placement of Neptune at the time of that eclipse, that is when I observe the intensity of the misinformation really began being propagated to all of humanity, in order for us to really not recognize the blessings at hand here. These blessings at hand are really for us to know our power and to become accountable and responsible of all that we encounter and experience during the course of our human evolution. I won't talk too much about this right now, but I'm hoping to elaborate and even possibly formally create a book regarding the subject as to how the United States really has the potential to be the new Jerusalem, as well as becoming a benchmark, a point of reference, if you will, for all other nations to follow. We are being given opportunities to really become self-governing, and by doing so, nothing has power over us, nothing can control or manipulate or interfere with enjoying our experiences in ways which resonates with us on a personal level. And as always, when I say this, being accountable and responsible gives us an opportunity to really recognize how our being can potentially affect others in a negative way. When I suggest for us to recognize our power, it certainly does not infer in any sort of way that we are to be unlawful, that we are not to be aware of what we are doing to others. Remember, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I always suggest to always, from a place with love, offer compensation for whatever you may need and what is required for you to enjoy a peaceful existence. Always render to Caesar whatever is Caesar's, if that's the proper quote that I'm summoning right now. Be aware of all that you set in motion, especially as we approach this next auspicious, prominent eclipse season. Remember, we are creating and co-creating all that is coming next. Create all from a place of love. Allow yourself to become very clear with the image of your ideal life and set that energy in motion, all from a place of love. I thank you once again for offering me this opportunity to very briefly share with you some of my insights. I will continue to create these videos to inspire you on your journey, to inspire you at knowing your power, always from a place of love. And remember, all that you enjoy, that which you are very passionate about, that does connect with a higher purpose. That not only brings you blessings, but it brings blessings to many. Spirit desires for us to enjoy win-win experiences in everything. This is also something, the win-win element is also something that will be very much a part of the times to come. What's coming next? The universe is waiting to observe what we shall create. Stay in the light and always in a place of love. Many blessings, and I will see you again very soon. Be well.